They say my sisters are unable to maintain healthy relationships. Now, I'm going to keep running this point. I'm going to keep running this point every time on my videos. If you don't know my sisters and you've never been around them, then you've got nothing to say as it relates to them. If you're getting second, third, fourth hand information, you're getting your information from social media, from reality TV shows, you have nothing to say. You have no purpose in the conversation of saying anything that it relates to my sisters. I know brothers who have been in relationships with sisters for 10, 15, 30 years, 40-year marriages. To this day, I know that. So if you've never experienced my sisters being in healthy relationships, that's just a mistake or a fault on your part, or being naive or whatever. I don't know. There's an issue there, because if you can't find any of my sisters in a healthy relationship where you've been around, you're not around my sisters. You absolutely are not around my sisters. So when we talk about my sisters maintaining a healthy relationship, I'm going to tell you one thing that folks completely miss, goes over their head or whatever. My sisters are the ones who try their best to make sure that they preserve a relationship. You better believe it. Especially if they have a child involved. My sisters to the bitter end are going to try to make this thing work, because they want that nucleus. They want that family. They want those dreams that they had when they were younger, just like any other girl coming up who wants that type of vision of being with somebody, having a family. They want that. Why you think that you listen to some of these R&B songs and you hear the connection that my women have, and what the women normally are talking about is them talking about doing everything they could be. They were there for this guy, and the guy went left. And they still stuck through. They still went through the hurt, the pain, the embarrassment from their friends and their family and stuff like that. Why do you think that connects so much with my sisters? If they were so much of the part of the relationship that is wanting to be unhealthy, they would have left the relationships and would have been cold and would have been, like how men are, totally disconnected, and they would have went about their business. My sisters aren't like that. My sisters are trying to make sure that they stay themselves in a relationship. They don't want any do-overs. Because then it's like you got to start all over again with somebody else when you've given and you invested all your time and your energy into this relationship. When it comes down to a child, my sisters are wanting to make certain that that father is in that child's life, because they know the stigma that comes with our sisters, that, oh, here goes another single mother. They know that. So they have to work that much harder to make certain that they don't come out of that relationship being in that same situation that people put that stigma on with my sisters. So my sisters are absolutely wanting the relationships. Now, are there some women who may not be healthy in relationships? Yeah, absolutely. But that happens with all cultures. All women have some, there's women in these cultures that have some toxicity about them. May not be good for relationships or whatever. That's just a characteristic trait. That's just some habits issue. That's normal. That's just a human trait that folks have, whether or not they can be they can coexist with another person. That's natural. But for my sisters just naturally being where they don't want to have a healthy relationship, y'all are watching too much reality stuff. You're looking at too much social media stuff. You talk to any of my sisters will tell you, hey, they're trying to make their relationships work. They're trying to be there with their mate. They're trying to be able to enjoy and do all of the stuff where they can show off to their friends and their family members that they have a good relationship, that this man is good for them. And the other thing is, like I told y'all before in these other videos, there's always two sides to a story. And what you hear is you hear my men get out there, or whoever men get out there, mainly my men, get out there and they speak their side of the story about, oh, she had an attitude, she was money hungry, she was, she had all kinds of toxicity with her, she didn't want to work, all kind of things. They'll drum up all these different experiences or things that they say as what happened in the relationship. And you always know that there's another side to that story. You know there's another side of the story. You need to assess what those men are saying. Listen to them carefully of what they're saying, because you don't know whether or not this dude was a deadbeat dad. This dude wasn't working himself. This cat was out there with his boys. Cat was mismanaging money. This cat was out there trying to be flirtatious with other women and being disrespectful when they're in front of their women, because a lot of men do that nonsense. You don't know all of that stuff. Dude wasn't a family man. He had all kind of issues with his own family. You don't know that stuff. So you're hearing this one side of the story about what this guy is telling you of why our sisters are not healthy to be with, or they're toxic. You're hearing that side of the story, but you don't even know nothing about this dude and who this dude really is, and whether or not he was the problem, whether or not he was the issue. So like I said, if you don't know my sisters, you can never judge them. You can never place stigmas on them if you don't know them personally. And I'm not talking about one or two or maybe three. You need to know a ton of sisters, so that way you can sit up here and make your judgment of, oh, you know what, that stereotype fits. But if you're watching reality shows and you're listening to social media and you're listening to the brothers talk and yap and talk all this nonsense without absolutely saying, like I said in my other video with my son's mother, my ex-wife, and how she taught me things, and that wasn't the only thing she's taught me in my relationship, giving her credit. If you're not hearing no man sit up here and speak like that, you have to look at that person suspect. You have to question that person. Because then you'll be like, well, why the freak you was in a relationship if you had no benefit? Even if the benefit was just pure physical. Why are you in a relationship if you had no benefit? Because even that person is giving something of themselves to you for you to experience. You know what I mean? So assess what these dudes are saying. But talk to my sisters and you'll hear. My sisters will tell you, I want my relationships to work. I want my family to be together. I want to be able to experience that joy. I want that happiness. They want those same exact things. They're no different from no other woman out here. They want those things. And the thing is that, unfortunately, what happens with a lot of my sisters is that they hold on to it so strong, and then it damages them to where they wind up coming in with baggage from these other past relationships, and then it winds up being this kind of domino effect where these relationships wind up having some challenges. And the same thing for the men. Do exactly the same thing. They got their challenges, they have their baggages, But relationships take work. They're two different personalities, characteristics, habits. Relationships take work for you to be able to coexist and make it happen. And sometimes what happens is when you come towards making a relationship with somebody, you don't really have, your motives are not really aligned with the most genuine motives. There's other things that you're looking at that people come into relationships for. And that's what causes the breakdown. And then the other thing is communication. We know that. Communication is heavy. You don't have the right communication, the relationship's not going to be healthy. It's not going to be sustainable. But again, that's not a problem for my sisters. That's not my sisters being the problem. That's just human nature. Catch you on the next note. Peace out.